There's clearly too much sport. Too much sport. Ashes, the Matildas, the soccer over in New Zealand. I forget the name of the Ferns, I think they're called. There's just too much going on, and the Tour de France as well. So, but I made it. I'm here. It's 12:30. It's Friday afternoon. My name is Mark Smith. I'm Group Managing Director of People2People in Australia and the UK, and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. And this is P2P Live, where we talk all things jobs and employment throughout Australia. So we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. We can see your comments, so please participate as much as you can. Today, we've got the jobs report from the RCSA, where I'll be chatting directly to Charles Cameron, the CEO of the RCSA, and he'll be giving us the latest update from that jobs report. We've got hot jobs here in Australia. We've got jobs in the UK and New Zealand. And of course, we've got last week's Twitter poll results. So much to talk about. Let's jump into this week's Stat of the Week. Well, I'm delighted this week to have Charles Cameron, the CEO of the RCSA in Australia and New Zealand, joining us for this week's Stat of the Week. Because just last week, the RCSA jobs report was launched, or released, I should say. It's not launched, released. And it had some very interesting data about the Australian marketplace. So, g'day, Charles. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mark. Good to see you.
Yeah, you don't seem to have too many bags under your eyes, because we have some tremendous sport going on at the moment. I'm really not coping. Like the Ashes, I'm really not coping. And then we've got the Tour de France. We've got and then we've got the Matildas running as well. It's just too much. There's too much going on.
Way too much. I'm a fellow cricket tragic and stayed up. I think to probably witness one of the hardest sessions of my life, watching the Aussie bowlers, because I'm a bowler, still play tragically, getting smacked around the park. But hey, you gotta enjoy the fact that it could come down to the last game, don't you?
Well, P2P for the last 3 years has been sponsoring a bowler for North Sydney Bears here in Sydney in the cricket. So yeah, I'm a bit of a tragic as well, always. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're actually here to talk about the jobs report. So tell us more about it. Where does the information come from? Where do you gather the information for the RCSA jobs report?
Yeah, look, as you know, Mark, there are thousands of different online job advertisement sites, whether they're run by recruitment firms who are advertising direct to market, people to people, clearly would be included in that, and Over the Ditch, Frog, etc. You've got businesses who will directly advertise to the market. Then you've got the large commercial job board. So the jobs report pulls together the widest range of job posting sites, 6,500 of them across Australia and New Zealand, and uses AI to code those jobs and to avoid duplication of job ads. And yeah, it's been really well received, because it's an indication, of course, of real time, what's actually happening. And it's an indication, I guess, of confidence, employer, government, hirer confidence, and where it's going to the future, and how it's adjusting. And look, you would probably appreciate more than anyone, Mark, that we have this market at the moment that is jumping around, and it's very reactive, which I've never seen in my 25 years observing this market.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I mean, it's hard to get a read on what's actually happening. You're getting some conflicting messages, from a recession in New Zealand to shortages of talent, in particular specializations as well. So, what are the key takeaways from this report then, from this quarter?
Yeah, look, it is. You just mentioned New Zealand. I mean, we've got such a story of two countries. I mean, over there, because they're probably not receiving the protection of the resources sector. And I must say, having travelled across Aotearoa, New Zealand last month, they're very different sentiment there. I mean, technically, of course, they're in recession, but you've seen a massive massive drop in the number of job ads being posted over there. We're here. The reality is that year on year, like compared to 2 years ago, we're 22% up on job ads, and it's actually become quite stable here. I mean, the thing at a high level that I'm finding really interesting, and you as a recruitment professional, you've watched this market like I have for many years. Typically in tougher times, we'll actually see the number of perm job opportunities decrease and the number of flexible job opportunities increase. So the jobs report is really the only report that examines flexible and permanent job opportunity contrasts. And yeah, the flexible job opportunities in tougher times have actually decreased, and perm have, let's call it, stayed stable. What does that say to me? It says that we're all very attuned to the talent shortage, and we're not going to lose the opportunity to lock in really good talent, because it's only around the corner that we see things jump up again, and we're going to be scrambling for talent. And I think that shows the maturity, Mark.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of post-traumatic stress out there. People, after the COVID recession, had come back into the market and thought, oh, I'll be able to pick up a little bit of talent now, get some people on board, and realised, wow, it's actually quite hard to do that. So they don't want to miss out again. So we're not. I haven't seen any layoffs at this point, excluding the tech sector. And of course, there's been a couple of construction firms that have gone down with the residential property sector, but otherwise, it's still holding very well at the moment.
You know what's interesting though is
yeah. Go ahead, Charles. Sorry.
I was just saying what is really interesting here is you've got the drop-off in the tech sector, but I think that's a product of what I've previously described as talent hoarding by the tech sector. You know, they overemployed, and really it's probably just right-sizing in many circumstances. And I still believe that. I mean, it's still coming off slightly under the jobs report, but the reality is that there's still a fair bit of confidence there. I mean, if we look at, sales staff, cumulative rises of sales staff, the highest across all occupation types, up 26.5%. It says that people are ready. They're still ready to make money. So I think that's really the contrast we're finding in Australia. There is a belief that we can actually push through this, which, as you well know, I mean, recessions are made from people's reactions and overreaction. So I think that's pretty promising for this country.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Do you want to quickly, Jacob, the man behind the scenes here? By the way, Charles, if you want to have a beer with Jacob, the man behind the scenes, Wellington, what's it called? Mount Wellington Pub. That's where he is. He's always there on a Friday night. Anyway, Jacob, do you want to pop up the graph? This is more sort of a trend line, isn't it, over the last period of time, from that flexible and permanent working? Is there any standout information or something you would like to talk to us about here?
Oh, look, as you can see, the jobs report, we started collecting this data and releasing back in the middle of 2018. So it's been going for some time. And, most people would understand that it's an index. So, 100 points was baseline. And what you've seen is leading up to, that dreadful April 2020 period where we saw a massive drop off in job advertisements on the back of COVID. We then saw that, climb. It has been up and down from that period. But, we really saw that real push, and no doubt people to people and Frog over in New Zealand saw considerable, increased demand for talent over that 2020, late 21, 22 period, right up. And we saw the spike again, didn't we, earlier in the year? But it's fair to say that that's coming off, both in perm and flexible as well. It's interesting here, Mark. The correlation in tracking the flexible and the perm job ads sort of following each other in many ways, where traditionally we would see them start crossing over one another. So, but again, let's go back and look at this in contrast to June 2018, pre-COVID. It's still high. So again, it's probably a little bit like the interest rates piece. I mean, when you go down to zero and then your interest rates go up 12 times in a row, it feels like a big impact. But in many ways, we're sort of just back to where we were. And I think really it's still a pretty buoyant jobs market in Australia.
Yeah, reinforced yesterday by the unemployment numbers, the lowest ever for the data here in New South Wales, starting with a 2. Really odd for me to even say that, and it's quite profound. My observation from the jobs report is the gap between flexible and permanent is much larger now than when it was at the last peak of the market in 2018. So really interesting stuff. So thank you very much, Charles. Yep.
Just quickly on that, I just want to make a quick comment, and that is that we don't have a flexible or insecure work problem in this country. This notion that there are too many flexible jobs and not enough perm. The majority of the new jobs, they're all permanent jobs, Mark. So really important for all your listeners and viewers to understand. Let's cut out some of the political rhetoric and look at what the facts are. So always good to talk facts with you, mate.
Fantastic. All right. Well, hopefully we'll have you back on again with the jobs report. Now, if you're looking to get a hold of this information and look at it in more detail, in the comments, you'll be able to have a link there to the actual job report. And Charles is all over social. So if you'd like to have a chat to Charles, LinkedIn, Twitter, RCSA, and himself personally, reach out. I'm sure we'll have some more comments if you have specific questions. But thanks again, Charles, for joining us today.
Thank you, Mark. Good to have you leading in the world of work, mate. Thank you.
See you. Couple of hot jobs in Australia this week. Here's the first one. It's a HR coordinator, and it's in Melbourne, and it's paying between $38 and $50 an hour, depending on your experience. So you're reporting to the GM, and your duties include engagement and retention of strategy sessions. You will be doing general HR administration. You'll be onboarding new hires as well as aiding in recruitment. So you need to have a relevant degree in HR and previous HR experience. And the person you need to chat to there is Mary Savova from our Melbourne team. 039098 7427 is her number. Or you can simply hit apply now on the comments on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and apply for that one. Here's the next opportunity that we've got. And it's a program delivery partner. And this one is in Brisbane, up in Queensland. $76,000. It's a permanent opportunity. Where you'll be coordinating and managing events, webinars, seminars, collaborating closely with internal and external stakeholders, and provide operational and administrative support so that the programs are delivered and executed smoothly. So the requirements for this one, you need to have prior experience in customer service or a customer-focused role. And if you've got a Cert 4 in training and assessment, you got to put yourself in front of the rest of the crew there. So if you're interested, 07 3118 0125 and ask for Melanie in our Queensland or Brisbane office, or simply hit apply now in the comments, and we'll be able to you'll be able to see more detail there and get in touch with Melanie. Okay, that's our 2 hot jobs in Australia this week. Okay, maybe you're looking at a working holiday over in the UK, or you're thinking about it. Well, we've got a job for you, and it's a PA role, and it's in London. It's paying £21 an hour. You'll be doing diary and inbox management, scheduling reviews, and following up with subsequent bookings, taking accurate meeting notes, and actioning any incoming client tasks. So you need to have been a PA before and have demonstrated that sort of rapport building with interactions external and internal to the client. So you need to, if you're on your way, get in touch with Maddie Lang in our London office, or maybe you're in London right now and you're thinking about opportunities in Australia. Here's the job. It's get in touch with her, Maddie Lang at people2people.co.uk, or simply hit apply now in the comments and get in touch there. Now, I can see that we've had a couple of comments online here. Rafi is saying, by any chance, is there a civil engineer from a job opportunity for you? Rafi, we can help you out. We don't really specialize in engineering, but if you have working rights in either New Zealand, Australia or the UK, we can certainly help you out. And similarly, Ismail, an entry-level role in HR tech or Scrum Master. Well, yeah, we could possibly help you out with our technology teams in Australia. We're not as strong in the UK, but you need to have those working rights to be able to secure that. We can't help with securing the working rights. I would point out, though, if you are Australian or a Kiwi and you're between the ages of 18 to 35, you can apply for the Youth Mobility Visa for the UK and work in the UK for up to 3 years. So it's definitely something to consider. Okay, so if maybe you don't want to go to the UK, you want to go to New Zealand, I think we've got a video for the opportunity across the ditch from our partners, Frog Recruitment.
Kia ora team, Chef Neil at Frog Recruitment here. Just wanted to bring you a hot new role that I'm currently working on, a document controller in the review advisor space. This role is a 4-month temporary role based out in Green Lane, paying $35 an hour. The day-to-day activities for this role would be you'll be liaising with different corporate and clinical staff just to make sure the policies and procedures are accurate and are maintained to a health and safety standard. And they're legible, and make sure that anybody can read them. If this sounds like a role to you, just reach out to myself. My contact details will be down below. If you have any questions as well, just reach out and then we can have a chat.
I clearly talk too much because we're way over time. Just before we jump into the Twitter poll results from last week, a reminder about Oz Top Dog. And to get you, if you've got the top office dog in Australia or the top dog with a job, make sure you get into this competition. The entries are open now for the next couple of weeks. There's a link in the comments there, so you can jump into that. Right, so here's last week's Twitter poll results. So we asked the question, if your current job stopped offering working from home or remote options, would you look for another role? Well, basically, there it is. 72.7% of you said, yes, I'm out. I'm looking if working from home wasn't an option. Now, I find that unbelievable. Maybe our audience is mainly white collar, but there are 60% of Australians who can't even work from home in the workforce. So maybe there's something in that. So hashtag P2P Live Australia if you'd like to see all of our results on Twitter and LinkedIn. Jump into those. Here's this week's question. As a job seeker in 2023, are you looking? Not looking but open. Looking but a bit hesitant. I'm not actively looking. So 6 days to vote on that one. Hashtag P2P Live Australia. Go to Twitter at People to People or head on over to LinkedIn and you can put your opinion there and we'll share the results with you next week. So that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for P2P Live. We'll do this all again next week and enjoy all that sport this weekend. We'll see you next week.